Right, I'm recording. So, hi Mike, thanks for coming along today to tell us all about your boats. I'm really looking forward to this. I've seen them and they're marvellous. I must say I've got my favourite, which I'll tell you which one it is when we're talking about it. But can you tell us, you've got 4 main boats that we're going to talk about today. You've got a large wooden boat. What is that? Because that is a good one.
Yeah, the large wooden boat was actually built in 1957 as a fishing boat in Mallorca. So it spent the first main part of its life, in fact, fishing off the coast of Mallorca.
Lovely.
And then it was turned into like a harbour tour boat. And taken to Malaga. So then it spent quite a few years chugging around the harbour, the port in Malaga, taking people on trips around the harbour. So we got it 2 years ago. We rebuilt it. You have to wooden boats have to be rebuilt fairly regularly, you know, because essentially and eventually a lot of the wood rots away and has to be replaced. It's not a problem. It's just the way it is with wooden boats. So we rebuilt it when we bought it 2 years ago. And very importantly, we built a bar on board. So it's got its own bar. Yeah, and she's a lovely old boat. She's still got the original Spanish diesel engines. So they're original, although they've been rebuilt as well by us, by our engineers and mechanics. And she's licensed at the moment to carry 50 guests. So she's great for use as a party boat, you know, for weddings, stags, hen do's, weddings, anniversaries, anything like that. We can offer full catering on board. I mean, you've seen her, she's tied up in the marina. She's right next to the office. And you know, behind the office we've got the kitchens,
yeah,
where Lucy creates some great food, and so we can offer, you know, a full catering package. We've got a bar on board, and we've also got lots of toys on the boat. We've got a couple of kayaks, a couple of paddle boards, and some floating mats, and a whole bunch of snorkels and masks. So plenty for people to amuse themselves with when we stop and we anchor up somewhere.
Right. So on that boat for weddings, that you could get quite a few guests on there. So
yeah, well, it's licensed. Yes, licensed for 50. I think we had an Irish wedding on there last year, and I think we had 43 or 45, and it was fine. You know, really good.
Good. Could you do something like, I mean, I'm also, apart from a wedding celebrant, I'm a funeral celebrant. So could we do memorial services on there where we could go out and maybe have a memorial service with rose petals or something like that?
Yep. We did one. Do you know, we did one on the 19th of October last year, so a few months ago. Because it was on the 19th of October every year. It's the anniversary of a big shipping tragedy, big naval tragedy that occurred in the bay, in La Herradura Bay, just around the corner from us. And they asked us last year if we could take the mayor and the police chief and all the people from the town hall. Basically, I think we had about 30 people on board. And they did exactly that. They handed out rose petals to everybody. Of course, with it being a Spanish event, you know, everybody had to say a little speech. So the speeches went on quite a while. But we had music on board. Somebody was playing music, an accordion. So it was nice, yeah. So we have done that before. We do. Something we do often.
Good. And then you've got a lovely catamaran. How many people can you get on there?
Well, the catamaran's licensed for 12, so it's much smaller than the big wooden boat, but it's great for for stags and hens. We get a lot of hen parties on there. And we have actually had small wedding ceremonies on there. And we've done, over the years, because we've had the catamaran now 6 years, so over the years we've done quite a few scattering of ashes.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
using the catamaran. Right.
Yeah.
Lovely. And you've got this beautiful white leather seated motor yacht. How many people can you have on there? I love that one. How many people can you have on there?
That one actually carries 10. License for 10 passengers, 2 crew, 10 passengers. As you say, it is very luxurious. Very luxurious.
Right.
It's
beautiful.
Yeah, I mean it's what we call a gin palace. So if that's your thing, then we've got one. Again, we do some great catering on that, as we do on the catamaran, and we also have a free bar. So I should really say that on the wooden boat, normally on the wooden boat, we do 2-hour trips around the bay. If you were to hire it for an event, then obviously it would be for longer than 2 hours. Usually it's 4 hours, and you can either have a dry event, or you can have an event where you have a bar included, so all your drinks are included, or you can have an event where your bar's included and a meal's included as well, so all your food's included.
Right.
Those are options on the wooden boat. On the catamaran and on the motorboat, which is called the Charlie Ruggles, the food and the drink are all included. It's an all-inclusive price. So
Right.
the food and the drink are all included.
And is that a same 4-hour trip?
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes, they're 4-hour trips, exactly. Basically, we recommend for groups, particularly, 4 hours is a good time. We used to do 3-hour trips, and we found we increased them to 4 hours because most guests just said it wasn't long enough and it went too fast.
Yeah.
And we used to do 6-hour trips as well, but some guests just felt they were a bit too long, only because they were kind of out in the on the water. But to be out on the water for 6 hours in the middle of one of our summers,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. Can be quite a lot. Yeah.
I was
particularly if you're enjoying the hospitality of the food and the drink, it can be quite a lot.
Yes, I was going to ask you that before we come on to the next boat, which is my favourite. If we were going to have a wedding and you've got the 4 hours, do you do sort of like a 10 till 1 and a 2 till 6, or what are the time slots?
Yeah, we split the day up into 3 trips. So we do a breakfast trip from 9 until 1. Then we do a lunchtime trip from 1:30 until 5:30. And that's the most popular trip. That's the one that gets booked up the first. And then in the summer months, we do a very popular sunset trip from 6 till 10, which includes dinner, and you see the sun go down. You watch the sunset. So that's a lovely trip. But it's obviously not always practical for weddings, hen parties, stag parties. So the most popular trip is usually the lunchtime trip. So from 1:30 until 5:30. There you've got the best time of the day, the most sunshine, the warmest, the sea's at its warmest. And the breakfast trip's lovely because if you want a flat, calm sea, then the mornings are when the sea is at its calmest. And quiet too. There aren't that many boats out on the water. But the downside of the breakfast trip is you have to get out of bed early. And when you're on holiday, that's not always very easy to do, is it?
No, it's not. And I was thinking,
particularly if you've got teenagers.
No, not if you've got teenagers. They don't get out of bed till lunchtime, do they? No. I shouldn't generalise. A lot of them like to get up early. But with the brides as well, I mean, for me, I think that would be a good time slot for a wedding because it's the coolest, it's the calmest. it's got the least amount of traffic in the background. However,
Yeah.
the bride wants to get up, she wants her makeup done, her hair done, so you would end up getting up really, really early. So if they have the lunchtime slot, the most popular slot, you would take the boat out, so I would imagine about 2:00, 1:45. How long would it take to get to where we were going to do the service? About 15 minutes, half an hour?
Yeah, one of the great advantages about sailing where we sail on the Costa Tropical and round Almuñeca and La Herradura is that whichever way the wind is blowing, and usually in Spain the wind blows from the west or it blows from the east. Those are really normally the two options. So whichever way it's blowing from, we've got little bays that we can tuck into to get out of the wind and out of the swell, out of the waves. So we've got all these little favourite places where we can go and tuck in. So it's difficult to say how long, because sometimes, I mean, the closest place we could anchor up is literally 10 minutes out of the marina. The furthest place we anchor up could be 45 minutes or an hour out of the marina. But usually on a 4-hour trip, we would spend the first hour sailing, which is all part of it, obviously. And then we would anchor up somewhere sheltered, somewhere shallow, and get the toys out. So then all the guests can enjoy the water, they can go kayaking, they can paddleboard, they can snorkel. Whilst they're doing all that, usually we would be getting the meal ready. And then after lunch, after the meal, we basically go back to the marina. So 1 hour sailing, 2 hours eating, drinking, swimming, kayaking, paddleboarding, getting married, in your case.
Yeah.
And then we allow an hour to get back. Right. So that's how the 4 hours breaks up.
So the first hour, you would be getting there, maybe having the service when you get there, because the service is 20 minutes. The wedding ceremony service is 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops, because you're in the bright sunshine. And then they can enjoy their wedding breakfast, as it's called, or wedding lunch, and then do whatever they want.
And play, exactly. I mean, what we could do, if it was specifically a wedding party that were and the service was taking place on board the boat, then obviously we would tailor the 4 hours to fit in with that. And we probably wouldn't go motoring off for an hour. We'd try and find somewhere a little bit closer. So we'd maximise the amount of time, because you'd probably want to be anchored with the engines off to actually have the ceremony. It's just more comfortable and it's less noisy, and the emphasis there has to be on everybody being able to take part in the ceremony, everybody kind of that being all inclusive, and then after the ceremony, after the kind of official part's over, having a bit of fun for an hour or so in the water. And some food, and then jogging back to the marina.
Yeah. So the last boat, which is a lovely big, very big motor yacht, a 60-foot Sunseeker Predator, £1 million yacht, which would be lovely for a wedding or an engagement or a vow renewal with champagne, canapes, tapas. Can you tell us a bit more about that one?
I can. I mean, what was something we haven't mentioned actually is that if you take any of our boats with the wooden boat, La Pinta, it's called La Pinta del Este.
I can see the picture of it behind you with people on it.
There is. Well, there you are. There's a hen do. There's a corporate event taking place. Another couple of hen do's there. There's somebody having a meal, another hen do. So yes, all our trips include basically as much cava, champagne, as you can drink. So that's not an issue. It's always chilled. Now the big boat we've got, the Sunseeker Predator, the £1 million boat. I mean, this really is a fantastic opportunity for anybody to enjoy being on a £1 million boat for a few hours, whatever the occasion is. You know, if you were to own a £1 million boat, first of all, it will cost you £1 million to buy it.
Yeah.
It costs about 10% of the boat's value every year just to keep it in the water. So you'd be looking at £100,000 a year, £2,000 a week, just to have it sitting in the water doing nothing. When we go out on that boat, we use about €300 an hour fuel. So if you're going out for 4 hours and you don't stop the engines, there's €1,200 gone just in fuel. Now, we can take you out, we can take your party out, 12 people, for 4 hours, for €200 each. And that includes as much cava as you want to drink, soft drinks, beer, water. It includes spirits, if you want to drink spirits, whiskey, gin, vodka. And it includes a sumptuous buffet meal, all in the price.
Wow.
And obviously we don't tear along the coast for 4 hours.
No.
If we did that, we'd have to charge you €500 each, probably. But we do, you know, we do the same kind of thing that we do with the other boats. So we motor off and find somewhere nice and calm and flat, drop the anchor, get the toys out. It's got all the same toys that the other boats have. Of course, everything's very plush. Everything's made of leather. It's got a great sound system, and it, you know, it just looks the part as well. So if that's your thing, then come and enjoy it. Because, like I say, if you had to own it, if you did own it, it would cost you an awful lot more than that to take it out for 4 hours.
It certainly would, but it would be lovely for an intimate wedding with champagne. I think
Yes,
that would be lovely.
Yeah.
And the other one, the motor yacht.
And unique.
Yes.
It's the only yacht of its type that you can charter anywhere along this coastline.
Yeah.
The only one.
So that's something that people would have.
The most luxurious yacht. If you're thinking of coming here and getting married somewhere in this vicinity, then this is the most luxurious yacht, motor yacht, you could get married on, or have a party on. I
always refer to it as your Abramovich yacht.
Yes.
It's easier to say than a Sunseeker Predator, Mr. Abramovich's yacht. But it is a beautiful, beautiful yacht. Now, it's beautiful. The one question I did want to ask you is footwear, because high heels on boats, or especially teak decks, are not a good idea. So I've got my lovely white-soled pumps, white pumps and black pumps with white soles for weddings, trainer type shoes, but they've got white soles. So what would people be allowed to wear on these boats when they come out?
Well, we normally encourage all our guests to wear something with a deck sole, as you just mentioned, a white deck sole. Or, you know, I mean, I imagine that people don't tend to be that formal when they come on the boats. So I don't know if you know how formal your wedding would be, because the first thing most people do when they come on any of the boats in the summer months is they take their shoes off anyway and just wander about either barefoot or with flip-flops on. We kind of encourage people to take their shoes off. I'll tell you for why. That's because a few years ago, a lot of guests just started losing shoes overboard, flip-flops particularly. They leave them lying around and they end up in the water. And they always float for about 5 seconds, just long enough for you to turn the boat round, and then they sink. So we had a man very famously with his family one Sunday 3 years ago from Madrid, and it was a Sunday afternoon, and he lost one of his flip-flops. He had to drive his family back to Madrid that evening, which is like a 5-hour drive, with only one flip-flop. So now what we do is we collect all the shoes together, put them in a basket, so they're safe, and you get them back at the end of the trip. However, I understand perfectly well that if you're taking photos and you know you're being a bit more formal, then obviously you need to have footwear. But no stilettos, please. No big sharp nasty heels, because they actually damage the decks. And also it's dangerous, you know, because the boats move. They don't.
It's got to be flat shoes. It has got to be flat shoes.
Lose your balance.
I would imagine most brides, if they were going to go on the boat, they might buy some really nice, fancy, flat Greek type, you know, the Grecian type sandals, or some nice flip-flops, Diamante flip-flops, but it would be flat or barefoot. And then they can always have a nice pair of strappy heels that they could take their photographs off the boat on the quayside.
Exactly. You know, what we can do with any of these trips is probably before, be better than after, is actually before we leave the marina, depending, you know, if we didn't have a trip beforehand, then the boat would be sitting there anyway. So before we leave the marina, do photos and stuff like that on the quayside next to the boat. That's because, as you all know, it's a beautiful setting down there.
It's lovely.
Palm trees.
It's lovely.
It is a lovely setting.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful marina.
It is. It is.
But in terms of in terms of ideas for what to wear, I would suggest watching Mamma Mia, and that'll give you some good ideas, some good.
Yeah, one of my favourite films.
Some good inspiration for what to wear for a wedding, for a Mediterranean wedding.
Exactly. Nothing too heavy, because in the height of the summer, July and August, it's about 40 degrees, isn't it? And it is too hot.
Yeah.
For a heavy dress.
That's another great advantage of being out on the water. It's the coolest place to be.
When
it is 40 degrees.
Right. Well,
but I guess, you know, a lot of people get married from May, June, September, October as well, don't they?
Yeah. So, I mean, in Spain, really, Mike, you can get married any time of the year, because at Christmas, we've been here at Christmas in T-shirts during the day. It's cold of a night. The minute the sun goes in, it's like someone's turned the heating off. But during the day, you can walk around in a T-shirt, so you could quite easily get married. Quite easily.
Well, we did a record number of trips on the catamaran, because the catamaran we operate all the year round, and the wooden boat, the big wooden boat, we also operate all year round. But we did a record number of trips this year in January. For January, I think we did 8 trips, and all of those 8 trips went out in the middle of the day, and we were all wearing T-shirts and shorts. You know, the weather was lovely. Really good.
I've done sailing in the UK on New Year's Day, and we've had full wet gear, padded coats, trousers, scarves, gloves, and it's been freezing. So much nicer to come to Leradura and come out of there. Beautiful, beautiful place. So thank you for telling us all about that today, Mike. I will put all your information, the link to your website, how people can get hold of you, I will put it underneath. So if they wanted to contact you and book you, we're hoping that we're starting to come out of lockdown now. And all being well, we should be out of lockdown, albeit with still strict what we can do and what we can't do, by the end of June. So if people wanted to start booking for July and August, I know there's been rebookings and that. Do you have availability for July, August, September this year still?
Yes, we do. Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely.
We're taking bookings now from the 15th of June. So from the 15th of June till the 31st of October, we will be operating all 4 of the boats 2-3 times a day.
Lovely.
They are, and you can look online and choose your time and just book it.
Lovely. Okay, well, thank you for that. I will put, as I said, all your contact information in the comments below the video, and people will be able to call you should they want to. Lovely.
Good. Lovely.
Thanks a lot. Lovely talking
Thank you
to
very
you.
much.
Bye, Mike.
Bye.